Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I'll do a topic of I did talk about autism last time, so I'll do a talk about conversation like how to have a conversation with someone who is autistic. Let's get right to it. Remember to like and subscribe to my channel. One of the first things I want to say is that there's a major difference between like having a conversation with someone who is like typically developed, normal as you call it, you know, versus having a conversation with someone who's autistic and person would have disability overall, but I'm making cover person autistic. So just like first of all, just like typically person different persons are different, you know, because all of us are different. Well, so it's like they're different. So this person with autistic, they're different also. So yeah, first of all, autistic, like someone at my caliber and others out there can like even though it may be difficult with finding like thrive to certain situations. Most persons with autism for the most part is gonna struggle in that department. Like it's like when they're in a sort of situation, like natural thing for them to do is just be by themselves, you know. But you have some artists who want to like willing to be with friends or go out with and things like that. But for the most part, you have as artistic who has to be by themselves. But if you're doing if they want to be around persons, maybe they don't know how to like approach me in sort of situation, things like that. Because one thing I can tell it's challenging being a sort especially a person with autism, especially me personally for me, it's extremely challenging like being in sort of situation. So it was at first for me, as I said in that last video, until found a way around it and build the confidence and then it was a wrap after that. As I said, the last video what I said, one of the thing I have was that is like I said, it's challenging because once I realized when I have a conversation with somebody is you have to look up for a couple of things. You have to like, listen to when someone is talking or you have to also watch the body language and the social cues. Because I realize after those things will tell the story more than when they talk. So you have to not listen to the words, you have to like watch the body language and see if the conversation you're having is getting somewhere or it's flowing or it's getting dry and things like that. For me, after a while, it was hard, but after a while, I could pick up when the conversation is flowing versus when it gets dry. As I said, one thing for me is wanting to start a conversation. To me, anybody can do that if they put their mind to it. That's the easy part, you know? Because the hardest part now is to try and maintain the conversation and make the conversation flows. For a conversation to flow, I think for the most part, it takes two people to do that, and it goes back and forth. How so you know if a conversation flows or not? And I realize for me personally, especially I'm autistic, it's like it takes a while for just to when you have a conversation with somebody or anybody for it to flow. That time, I guess it always depends how it starts. You probably start slowly, cause like give me collect my thoughts, see what I'm going to say, and other times where it's challenging for the most part until, but then I realized that the more confidence I build, the better, and I just got to point afterwards like if a conversation gets dry, it's like I can find a way to just say once something more a question and the conversation continues again. When you have a conversation with autistic, more often than not, if you're talking, there's a possible chance they may not like make eye contact with you for the most part. They might try to, but more occasions you talking about something and then you may not appear that they may hear you or whatever because they're not looking straight at you. So me, I may have to like look straight, maybe like as somebody like just they can't tell if they hear. But for me personally, I don't really need to maintain it, to be honest, because I'm hearing. Honestly, period is my church responders so could even having conversations, So, and I mentioned that it does very take me a lot of me to do a lot of things. Heck, even listening and focus on the conversation weighs me out, but try my best to do whatever else I can do as much as I can. Another thing to my is that our artistic person with artistic partner versus like typical developed partner, which is ain't the same. I think it's my opinion is easier to understand someone who's typical developed body language than to understand person with artistic body language. It's all it takes more time to understand about language and what they're thinking when they break down or they shut down or things like that. Unless you're used to being around them. But if you're not used to it, something might happen. And then I would say you have some that artist person you have to bring them around somewhere that comfortable in a room. Mostly trapping them in a quiet place where they're most comfortable at. Some other artists people who don't mind being in this noisy place, unless of course they won't go nuts and have this meltdown thingy, then if there's a case you have some artists that actually going to have the meltdowns in noisy places, yeah, I think it's best to send them to a quiet place where there is no distraction, no noise, no noise or anything else because most artists in person are sensitive to that noise, sounds, etc. So I'm not trying to realize that persons don't really seem to get this that there are times where you have a obviously artistic person you say some sarcasm stuff or give hints and clues. Artists we can pick up things like that. You have to be direct in what you're saying and you have to mean it literal. So for instance, if you're saying like I'm going to the bathroom, you don't wanna put it in a way that they'll understand, not trying to beat around the bush or play hints and it's there because I realize people tend to play those type of games for whatever reason and that's my person to pick it up. I mean, if you are average persons who are typical persons, then they share a bit of social cues and everything there. But as the Asian persons just ain't very good in that department, so you might have to be direct with them about that. and another thing with autistic persons is that they'll like sim. Now it may seem odd, but yeah, those sim. You just have to figure what they sim like. No, if the sim that you're doing is happening to what you don't like, you probably have to let it know, but let it know in a way, in a polite way. So listen, can you change your sim if you have to do like the same? But if they can like sim around you, that says a lot. If they feel that they can be themselves around you, then and you don't have to worry about being judged or anything like that, then they be themselves. If you feel otherwise, then you don't want them to get to a point where they feel as if, oh, I can't be myself around them because they'll say this, they'll say that, they'll judge me for this and that. Just like I think that everybody would want to be themselves. They don't want to be anyone else. As for me, once upon a time, I always wanted to like be someone else, but after a while, I'm just like, screw it. I'm just going to be myself. I just get to my mouth. I'm just being myself after a while because I realize that being someone else doesn't make any sense. So, and then I'm like, whatever I'm going to do now in the future, I'm going to be myself regardless. Being around persons who will allow you to be yourself really works wonders, especially when you have a conversation with them and you can be yourself to the fullest and not worry about them getting annoyed about any other little thing you do. And if they happen to have a little problem, they'll just say it in a way where it's just like, you know, they won't feel away or offensive or whatever. Having a conversation with someone artistic, knowing what to say to them, what not to say matters because of just like typically if a person have a trigger, so as artistic people, then you have to know what to say and what not to say, which I figure more often than not, me personally, is like, I don't know. I just get to a point. There are times where I feel like they know, but other times I'm just like, uh, I don't know if persons really know what to say to what not to say, or how to talk to what not to. I'm just, there's time I've been done for them, like. A black person is just have a lot to learn to talk to person artistic because it's easier to talk, as I said. In my opinion, it's easier to talk to person with typically developed than to speak to the person artistic. It takes a while for you and them to gel. But it's worth it though, if you're willing to get to know the person. Especially someone like me, if you take take it time to get to know me, it may not worth it at first, but after you take it time to get to know someone like me, you'll find out it's worth it after a while, after a stretch, especially in the long run. So short term, you may think see me as this guy is not like everyone else. He's different. But if you think about it, well, it's different. So mm, my point is, short term, you may think, say, oh, it's not this, it's like that. But like I said, after you get to know me after a stretch, a while in the long run, you realize that, oh, you know what? This guy may be different, but I'm actually glad I got to know him. He's special. When you look at the potential, especially the potential of what they can do instead of looking at the limitations, it works wonders. Because some of your persons who, if they feel that they can do anything, despite their limitations or whatever, then that'll just work wonders. So it's a long way in the long run. Because once you having confidence, with some person, especially someone like Michael, about I need to take a look at confidence in myself, and it's almost like no matter what hardship comes along, if I have that confidence in myself, I can just mm. So as I said, the body language, and there are times where when you have like someone like me or someone else who's autistic, you have others who you have a conversation that can only communicate with you verbally. So and I think it might take a while to read it, but if you can read enough verbal communication, then that will work along as well. You have others that can communicate with the mouth, like me. You have others who can only communicate non-verbally. So they'll maybe they'll draw a logo, they'll get a paper or image or something, draw what they're looking for. See if somebody can't say what they really want to say in the mouth. I think my opinion person I think they have trouble like expressing themselves, especially when they want. So knowing what they're looking for, especially if you're friends with them, that really goes a long way. Knowing, like I said, knowing what they want, how they interpret information, all of that works wonders. And chances, even if you have a lack of communication chance, because lack of communication can happen on occasions, but because you know them already, are pretty close to it, then you can almost okay, let's figure what the lack of communication is and sort it out and take it from there. That's the end of my video. If there's anything I haven't said about this topic, you can put it in the comments. Remember to subscribe, like my YouTube channel. Enjoy the rest of the day.